And with that, I say hello to both of you here, and we have a roll call. So myself, Hassan and Marian, Asad.
Present, yes.
And Miran.
Present here.
So we have a quorum, so we start our meeting. Sustainability Committee agenda meeting for July 28, 2020. I think you have seen that. So we start our meeting at 6:07. And, you know, basically I welcome you to the meeting, appreciate attending. We have a lot of good stuff to talk about, so we can keep it sort of informal and then follow some of the timelines. But I think if there is 3 of us, we got plenty of opportunity to go back and forth on things. So with that, I really don't see any person other than 3 of us online. So I'm going to ask for public comments. And if not, we're going to get right into our discussion. So first thing I wanted to do is kind of bring all of us together on updates on Sustainability Committee. And I know each of us probably have been doing certain things. So let me start by perhaps we ask Mehran to give a summary of his activities and Asad anything that you might have done, and then I'll give you a list of things that I've been involved. So
regarding, I was able to reach out to Clayton yesterday. You remember Clayton is our contact for the sustainability in CSAM.
Right.
He actually did leave the university, and he did move to Seattle to continue for his higher education. There is a replacement to him. He's going to email it to both of us, and he's going to do the introduction as well.
Okay.
Regarding Pepperdine are still waiting from the DPH to give them the permission to do even any meeting with other communities or organizations. And I think that this would be resolved by next Tuesday. We attended also the NCSA together. And Lisa already has been exchanging good emails with us and communication on different topics.
Right.
And that's all I have for the moment.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I'll expand a little bit on the NCSA activities a little bit more.
Yeah.
And Asad, anything that you want to mention?
Right, from citywide perspective. Okay, so there is, as you know, there is a lot of work going on to cut the budget here and there and all that. However, in certain departments, including my department, we still have funding for programs that I think eventually we as a committee should be involved in more, which is the green electric vehicle chargers and the solar panels, solar to grid panels. So, and the new generation of green luminaires. So the EV chargers, the reason I think we should get involved, typically there is a list established by the council office, which is a wish list. And technically the council office, they would have to reach out to the different neighborhood councils for locations. Like I give you example, like from the past, from the safety perspective, we added a demo electric vehicle charger on Corbin, north of Rinaldi, the third light on the right. So the one next to the school couldn't make it because the circuit is too weak to support electric vehicle. But we should start thinking of at least 5, 6 locations in Porter Ranch where we feel there is a good spot for electric vehicle charge, and then submit it to the council office to submit it to the city. And the same thing for if we could identify location for solar panels. The money is there.
But for the EV, that's a pretty interesting idea because that's the direction that everything is moving, you know, EV. all over. Where would be these locations that we are talking about would be like city parks or location, or can it be private
Okay.
or?
Now, so basically, this program, the money is within my group, the Bureau of Street Lighting. So it would have to be on an existing street light, preferable the steel galvanized, not the concrete type. Yeah. So you could see it on Corbin before you get to the YMCA, the third pole, and there's a big medallion on the light says EV charger in green and blue. Typically, there is always a motorcycle connected to it charging, because right now charging is free. The other one, you can see it, which is outside Porter Ranch, on Mason, at the north edge of the Mason Park. So all it is, it's attached to the street light itself and powers from the street
So you
light.
basically park on the street and then you charge, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
is there a limit on the amount of time you can stay and charge?
At this time, no. It's not like Santa Monica. Santa Monica has it regulated because it's next to the parking meter, and basically it's the parking meter that gives you power and parking. And the minute you are overcharged, you feel 100% full charge in 2 hours or 2 hours, they start charging you $1 a minute.
Oh.
Yeah, but before that, I think it's $1.25 an hour.
I see.
Yeah. So
a minute is kind of pretty steep.
exactly. Everybody felt that way, but they figured because a lot of people park it in there and it's like they don't move the car. So they figured the only way is they hit you. Same thing at our work. At our work is $2 in City Hall, $2 per hour. But the minute you hit the hour 3, it's $6 an hour.
Yes.
So if you don't move your car, you get penalized.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, this is an excellent opportunity. So I think we should
identify locations. Exactly.
Identify location. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good idea, especially, and the way it's been done is the council office sends their wish list. I mean, the one you see on Corbin and all that, just to give you background, it goes back to days where Greg Smith was the council. In the 6-month term, that's when it came in as the wish list.
I see.
Yeah. And of course, with it goes the solar lights for bus stops, like the one on Rinaldi and Porter Ranch Drive. You know where the village is?
Right.
Yeah. In Porter Ranch, we have only that one. We have a lot in south of Devonshire. On Reseda, we have a lot on Devonshire. But we don't have in Porter Ranch only one. So maybe we identify another bus stop. Yeah.
So once we identify location, what is the procedure? We submit it. Is it to you, to C12?
No, we submit it to the chief of staff. Say like, these are the locations that we feel you should address with the Bureau of Street Lighting so that they would install it under the program. Because typically my management, they send the letter in August, end of August, to the council office to tell them how many bus stops you need, how many EV chargers you need, something like that. If the council doesn't tell us, then the money goes somewhere else.
Yeah. You definitely want to take advantage of that for Porter Ranch. So.
Yeah, right now we have only that one charger, only one in Porter Ranch. In CD12, I think we have 8 or 10. But in Porter Ranch, only that one.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's excellent.
All right.
Yeah.
What is the charger by the Volput, you remember?
Oh yeah, there's 2 kinds. One is by charge point, which is you pay $1 per hour. It's not active yet. I don't know why not. And the other one is free of charge by Chevy Volt. So all it is, you park and it's free of charge. Chevy Volt installed it in Topanga Mall, and they installed it in Northridge Mall. It's free.
Right.
But the charge point, you pay money.
Dollar per minute.
No, $1 per hour. Santa Monica has the penalty $1 per minute after your full charge. Yeah, only Santa Monica has that penalty.
And I said, normally it's only our City 12 council office. Is this
What
the
about
way
it?
we can go if we submit?
Yeah, I mean, you could submit directly. I give you the name in the gentleman in Bureau of Street Lighting, but the instructions we have is that it need to come through the council office.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's something was established about 5-6 years ago for bus stop lighting, for bikeway.
Just keep an eye on it, Asad, and since you know more about it, when the timing is right, we'll submit that information to you. Let's keep an eye on locations. Hopefully, kind of, I don't know how many we can get, but sort of evenly distributed through. So it's not all in one street or one shopping center, you know.
Right.
You put one, for example, next to the library or the fire station in that area.
Yeah, so the one next to the library, it's in the program. I haven't seen it installed yet. I don't know why. It could be a circuit problem, but it was supposed to be the light immediately north of the parking lot for the library. Maybe one of us, if we drive by there, check if it's installed or not, or I'll check on my system and see if it's installed.
Right. No,
but it's supposed to be the pole immediately north of the entrance.
And you know, it's also makes good business sense, perhaps in the future when restaurants open, and you know, this is one way of getting more people back to dine outside, and you know,
exactly.
Restaurant, you sit there, it's nice to say, I had 2 hours of free charging on my car, and then you're kind of bound to be there those 2 hours. So you may be shopping at restaurants or various places. So economically, it makes sense too. So, okay, excellent. Thank you. Anything else, Asad? Asad, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, very good. So a few items from my side. So as Mehran mentioned, we have been attending the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance's various meetings. My God, the emails coming from them, it's a full-time job by itself, keeping track of what's going on. And I try to attend, you know, some or most that I can, but they are just all over the times and days, and you know, just it's a full-time job doing it. Also, one committee that I have participated in is called the Neighborhood Council Advisory Group. That's by City of LA. There's a lady named Dominique that she handles that, and it's actually a pretty good meeting. You know, she has invited a wide range of folks, and there's discussions in several areas. I'll just mention quickly. One was discussion regarding water guide. You know, how can we capture and use more of the local water? So, you know, every time we get a rain, a lot of this water just gets wasted, goes through this drainage system and into the ocean. So they're talking about ways and means to capture and reuse that water. One is regarding the tree guide, some interesting information that someone suggested, and it's beginning to kind of take some roots. He was saying, you know, all these trees we keep planting, and we are talking about the shade factor and all the good stuff. One thing we forget is like, if you put fruit trees, maybe we can actually use that, you know, for starting with homeless people. I mean, fruits are good also. It's a good source of nutrition. All the way to actually have it picked up and resold at food banks or, different places. So they're looking into that. I suggest that orange trees are actually not bad. We had them all over the valley at one time, and they kept, destroying them because of the buildings and constructions. Um, and then there was a discussion about who is responsible for watering it and how and so forth. So there's a plan on that. The other discussion was regarding solar guide, and you probably know about it than I do. She was saying only 5% of the homes in the city are having solar panels, and why not more? Because 5% is nothing. And talking about the different ways and means to give rebates and discounts and incentives basically to get more people to install them. Hopefully to get that number to upwards of maybe 15, 20%, which is 3 to 4 times more than current stage. So I don't know how we're gonna do all this with the budget cuts and so many other things, but maybe there is a way if there is a will, and we'll keep on. And the last one was exactly what you mentioned earlier about the EV. It seems like, there's more and more EV coming to the market. But unfortunately, if it's not just your home, there's not too many other places for all these vehicles to charge. And I have run across that issue a little bit when I was driving my son's car, the one which is semi-electric. I wanted
Hybrid.
and hybrid, yeah. And when I went to park, it's like there is no place. I for 3 days here and there, I was looking specifically to charge this little battery, and every time I go somewhere, the spots are taken. So I mean, I could still run on gas. Imagine if you are stuck to charge your vehicle. So they're talking about mandating so many spaces for any development that they got to have these things. Personally, they were saying 20%. With the way things are going and the mayor's plan for the green LA plan, you should be looking in the upwards of 50% on more of a green for any new development. So that's a good topic that they are still discussing, and I think there's a meeting this coming Thursday, so we'll hear more on that. So that's one good committee that I'm kind of happy about. Topics are coming up. The other one I mentioned already about NCSA, and as you both of you know, we since the last meeting, we have really managed to pass 2 CISs from the board. One was related to the sidewalk repair and the trees, if you remember that. And then the last one was related to budget cuts for the climate related matters, which we passed the motion, also send a letter to the mayor. So those 2 have been a pretty good achievements, at least for the last few months. So, and there's been, as I said, other related Zoom meetings, townhouse, webinars, and I've attended a few of those. So it's been pretty active. I mean, we don't see people face to face. I mean, we do see face to face on Zoom, but in person as much as before. But in some ways, also it has become more convenient actually to go to certain meetings, because all you need to do is make sure you got your pajama on, just log in. So with that, I think that's pretty much what I had from the committee activities. So I appreciate all the input.
And actually, I said, we, I mean, all of us, we were both very active representing our neighborhood council on the highest commitment. Hassan and I, we've been very busy attending all these meetings. He received a lot of emails. I receive a lot of emails. There is one meeting that we attended together, which was very good. There was another meeting we attended. I think there is tomorrow or after tomorrow, another one. So we are always busy. We always share with respect our feedback and our thoughts. So our name as sustainability is getting, and
It's
that's
getting there, yes.
important to I. Hassan has he makes the instructions. I do the backup instructions. I mean, we know how busy we are, especially on attending meetings. But
Yeah. And I appreciate that. Yeah, that's great work. A lot of times as volunteers, but somebody has to do it. So I appreciate it. So if nothing else with regard to activities, we can dive into our favorite topic, which is discussion and impacts of the COVID-19 on environmental issues. And I specifically mentioned a few challenges to do with increased plastic bags, basically. I said waste, but specifically talking about grocery bagging shops that beginning to find their way back to where we were several years ago.
Right.
And one, Jason is joining us. Should I admit him?
Well,
well,
no,
it's no, you can't.
it would be violation of the Brown Act.
So,
You want to call him, or you could admit him, tell him, Jason, it's a violation of the Brown Act, and then take him. I don't know. It's a good
yeah,
question.
let me just put him, mute him. Hey, Jason.
I'm just listening.
Okay, just want to let you know I got Ask Admin Ron and myself. So,
Yeah, I'm not gonna be. I'm just listening.
okay, just want to make sure we are not in violation of any Brown Acts or anything.
Not as long as I just. I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay, so let me just
Unmute.
mute you. Sorry. And then we were just getting into topics related to the COVID-19 impact, so you can listen in. So yeah, the issue, one of the challenges I see is the increased waste because of face masks, disposable PPE, gloves.
Gloves, exactly.
I see some of those already all over the city and sometimes near drainage system. Pretty soon, a lot of this will find their way into our oceans, rivers, waterbeds. And I just, it's been bothering me, but I see it as a challenge. How can we get back and let our community know that these are maybe okay and safe to wear it now and to protect ourselves, but there's a price to pay down the line in terms of the environmental impact and how we can get that cleaned up before it gets too far out of hand. Because the statistic I'm hearing about use of gloves and face masks, and it's just astronomical. They are in the hundreds of millions of pairs, yeah, for short periods of time. I mean, you're talking about weeks of this, and it just it's very, very mind-boggling with the way things are used, and of course, sometimes improperly trashed on the streets or parks or different places. So
Basically, you could do like a bullet or something, and ISAM does a blast on it for education of the people, saying, keep your neighborhood, your street clean, make sure these disposable gloves, disposable masks, bottle plastic while you're walking, things like that, make it to the garbage can, not to the street, something like that. Or maybe we could ask outreach for help to make up a one pager, some with like the bottles with a cross on it, or the mask being, it's a good point, Hassan. Maybe we could ask outreach to help us with one page of whatever we give them for ideas and blast it out.
Yeah. And that's something that we might have, wanting to do much earlier. Unfortunately, we haven't, but I think the sooner the better. I agree. We probably need to do that. Um, we do need some public outreach, that's for sure.
Right.
Um, um, but I wonder, like,
and we have Mehran here with the education. So if there is any brochures or something that you come across, Mehran, from the schools about proper disposal, things like that, then we could publicize those so that this way they don't say we're copycat. We just say what you wanted to share, what the LAUSD is doing in regards of disposal or whatever it is, brochures that Mehran comes in with the education system.
I will reach out tomorrow LUSD office and I will entertain a question about Hassan's request. And then we can gather them. I will email it to you. We can have a view and then we can ask outreach to create a nice flyer which is informational and educational, and we can submit, we can even send them out to institutions.
yeah, I think something like that on an e-blast might do some justice. I mean, we get what, 15,000 people see these emails.
Yeah.
And
Lori and Asad, they are doing, Sam, they are both doing very good in the blast they do also on the social media, on Facebook. They are keeping it very clean. I think it's a good idea to use the social media and also the schools that we.
So I just wonder, Asad or Miran, have you heard of a similar concern? I mean, we are not the only one who see that. Has city kind of seen something like this, and has there been any communication within the city organizations that perhaps what to do? I mean, is there a plan for it, do you think?
I'll check. I haven't seen anything beyond our normal recycling and disposal, but it's I'll reach out to sanitation or some of my colleagues and see. I haven't seen anything that comes to address that in our internal emails. I didn't see anything, but it's a good point.
I was thinking even it's kind of weird, but if people could not throw their mask away and sort of keep it, or facials, and then at some point take it to a recycling place and get a few pennies or a couple of dollars for it. I suppose that could be an approach, like giving an incentive for not throwing stuff on the street, but people will make sure with bags and bags of these things. So.
Hassan, from what I understand, is to recycle the mask and the gloves. Am I right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, the recycle meaning proper disposal. I don't know how much those materials can be recycled or reused. I just thought of a point. How much of these materials can in fact be recyclable, meaning if they basically hit the ground or ocean, can they decompose on their own after some period of time? I know at least one company where I used to be part of them a long time ago. They were thinking about plastic films that they basically would decompose after a period of time. And that was one of the foundation for some of the grocery bags. If you remember, some of them, you put it outdoor and after a few days you see like they have holes all over, and it's like, what happened? So those are the one that they would naturally decompose to some respect in outdoor environment. So I wonder if the same thing can be used at least for face shields, if not for face masks. But there has to be some good innovative ideas because from what I'm hearing, these things may not go away. In fact, one comedian was saying, get used to it. This is part of your outfit. You know, it's like you wear your pants, you have to wear your mask. So it is what it is. So let's think about some ideas and we can reach out to maybe some connections, perhaps other sustainability groups within the city, university, authorities, people who may know something about this and see if we can perhaps bring some fresh ideas as to, besides of course publicity and sending emails and flyers and stuff out. Well, I'll make a note here. Okay. All right. What else on COVID-19?
Hassan, you know what we can do? We reach out to the CDC, which is the Center Disease Control, and
Yeah.
they actually the area that they can help us to get an effective idea about disposal or how we can, what we need to do with the masks and so on. Because the U.S. Center of Disease Control and Prevention, they can also talk plastic bags as well. They do have a team or a division, that's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
Plastic bags that we see outside the markets or in your neighborhood, we can request how we can partnership with them and then what we need to do on our end, and they come and they clean it for you.
Right.
I can reach out to them as well.
Okay, please do that. I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, just there's such a big variety of these things out there right now, from plastic masks to cotton to it's just so many varieties, and some of them pretty stylish, which people put on. I do know the face masks specifically are polyester or polyethylene type films, and obviously those are not easily recycled or disposed in environment. They can last in nature for quite some times. So they're gonna go become part of the landfill if people even dispose it that way, or it could end up being going to the ocean if it's thrown on the streets or places where it can be washed away. So it's gonna be a big challenge because all of a sudden hundreds of millions of people using these
Exactly.
things daily, and a lot of these are like one-time use, right? It's not like you're gonna keep using it unless it's the other type which is washable. But nevertheless, there's so many of these things now being in use that could really harm the environment big time. All right. Any other ideas and suggestions?
You remember, Asad, one time we talk about waste management, because waste management, they do also disposing items identified in the neighborhood. Waste management, which is in the county, they can help us as
Mehran, you got caught up.
well. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was saying that waste management in the county, they do have a division where they do cleanups and disposal services to our neighborhoods as well. Maybe we need to find who could be the contact, and then we can reach out about waste management, and this would be a good effective in our neighborhood, because that's 100% pure sustainability.
Yeah, it's a good idea to reach out to as many folks as perhaps one call here and there to get some answers.
Certainly.
As I mentioned, the sanitation department at the city of LA, they might have a pretty good idea of what we are talking about, and
Yeah,
perhaps
I mean, their GM just got an award. Mehran and I saw that for sustainability and being, and it's a global award.
yeah,
So they must have some ideas, something going on.
right. So let's reach out to as many folks and organizations as we can. Then hopefully, we'll get back together and decide uh, what can be done, and perhaps at the first step, maybe put the public announcements out for the uh, for people to kind of be cautious or be aware of rather of this sort of disposing face shield and face mask, and then learn from these, and maybe we can discuss it even during one of our board meetings uh, to see what else other board members have, and then maybe some can help us to organize some sort of campaign or outreach to do this more properly. Because
Certainly.
I think just between three of us, and unfortunately we participate, but I'm sure he got a lot of ideas too. Imagine there is 8, 10 of us having that discussion. There would be a lot of good things coming out of it. So
Exactly.
let's do that. Let's. I think we have a pretty good list of action items right now. Individually, we can do certain things, and then I'll talk to Isam about some kind of a e-blast and maybe some wordings you can put together. Mehran, if you find some flyer or some sort that is already pre-made, that might be magnificent just to add that coming from a LAUSD or somebody like that. That's great. All right, so I think we probably exhausted that topic. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, great ideas, and let's put it in action.
Excellent. One thing that we wanted to discuss, and I think it's, let me see, it's coming up next. So one thing I wanted to discuss is for our retreat and certain goals for sustainability for next year. I wanted to get your ideas so we can put something together and hopefully present that to the board. So what ideas do you have or suggest that we should set it as our goals for the next 12 months in order to really help our community, specifically?
Well, one is going to be, I mean, I mentioned it in the general meeting. COVID is the subject of the 2020 and possibly will drag it through 2021. So from safety perspective, we're going to be involved. We're going to need the help of education and ultimately outreach. But from what we chatted today, maybe whatever we bring in from the door of education, we could implement it for safety blast or something related to COVID. So at the same time that we educate the people, wear the mask, the 6 feet, the sanitize and all that, then we bring it to the next level, which is the awareness. So I think mostly the budget at this time is going to be more involved in website development, getting our website more enhanced. So I think if you remember, the lady gave us some money about some estimates, quotations about WordPress.
Yeah.
So possibly we will need more pages, and that is going to be a joint between all the committees. So the COVID, let's say the COVID ad hoc, in which we're going to have more website presence. If we have some money, we could mail out, but mail out is, again, will be against sustainability because we're increasing the paper junk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely we need some money for that. Along the line, with not having any meetings, otherwise I would have suggested like sanitizers, like we used to have the little bottles for the
Yeah.
PRNC. Maybe we would do those, and part of the sustainability and the outreach and all that, we give it to senior homes, we give it to fire department, police. It just, I think with the money being very tight, giveaways might not be receptive. But for me, let's focus on getting some money for website development.
I said I did like the idea of the synthesizer because there is another neighborhood council they adopted a motion, right? And then what they did, some of their board members, education sustainability, they went and they dropped them in a specific buildings, seniors home, even hospitals at the entrances.
Right.
I think that is a very good idea because that is exactly what sustainability appeal of doing it. I second that. That's a very great idea.
So it's going to be a matter of budget, really. I mean,
Yeah, and if you are telling to me about a website that you are going to use WordPress, WordPress should not be that difficult to
no, it's not only the WordPress, Mahran. You remember we talked with the lady about getting the website going? So you understand, we're going to put material, so we need more space, more storage, more pages, graphics.
Right.
So that adds to our web hosting cost. I don't know how much we pay for how many gigabytes. So, but it's a good question we could ask in the meeting, like, hey, what's the budget for that?
Find out hopefully in the line of the budget report how much is the cost of the moment to keep our website and what is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So no, that's a good idea. I guess more of the website activities, outreach via social media. That's kind of more general for all of us, right? For everything we do, from safety to education to
Right. But
areas of
let's say
sustainability.
if each committee gets $100 and 10 committees, then we have $1,000 worth that we can establish for website content. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So rather than outreach asking for $1,000 for the website, if you divide it for each committee, then the numbers doesn't look as bad. It's just a thought. Because I'm sure along the line, we're going to be getting a lot of audits. Why this one is spending a lot of this, why this one is spending a lot of money this way, you know?
Specific, aside from that, specific to sustainability, knowing the fact that physical activities and doing stuff that perhaps we would have done, like cleanups and get-togethers and anything that would have been to me like a green activity. A lot of those from participation we're going to be limited. So I'm a bit struggling now with goals. I mean, besides attending these meetings and agreeing on certain, program, whether it's with the city, Green LA, or NCSA, and just doing certain things, in terms of actual physical activities, um, I don't think there's a whole lot we can do until this thing is set up, because everything is uh, it's going to
Yes.
require some level of contact with folks, and we don't want to be liable for potentially issues that may arise because of that. So on that regard, the goals are more specific to what more participation of these committees and take part in certain decisions, or um, group advisory toolkits that they come impacting our environment. I mean, we just have to be more present on the social media and or
Exactly.
you know places where it counts, where people are looking at you and say, okay, what do you think? Let's make a decision, and then a new legislation may come up, filing more CISs, for example, as Mehran also suggested. That might be the way to go. So um, those are kind of going through my mind right now. I was struggling last night. I'm saying, okay, what goals we're gonna put, and aside from a lot of traction and communication, really not a whole lot you can do. For example, a couple of years ago we had Earth Day, and who knows, whether we can do anything in April or not. Probably based on this, I would say we can't do anything right now until we get more clarification. But that was a nice activity, showing everyone about different things and the environment and having
Right.
city.
Yeah, I mean, the way it is right now, our emergency one in October is dead.
Yeah,
It's, definitely dead,
yeah,
unfortunately, because we are looking forward to it. It's a big event,
yeah,
but the way it is right now, it's totally gone.
right. Yeah. So okay, so we'll give it some more thoughts. Just wanted to have this, kind of heart-to-heart discussion. It is tough to do a lot of stuff right now because of the COVID situation, but hopefully we'll overcome that. Um, so if nothing else, we'll just move from this subject to the next one,
Yes.
which is a discussion that Miran wanted to have about filing potentially SCIS. And what I suggest, Miran, is that we kind of discuss the intentions of that, and then we can agree on perhaps some wording that we can present to the full board, and then perhaps get a motion on the agenda for the next meeting that we like to pass this, and then we can kind of work on the language, similar to what you may have suggested. I just want to have a discussion on it right now, so all three of us and four of us, we know what that is, and then hopefully we'll take it from there. So go ahead and talk about that particular file, the city file.
So this is a city file number 190604, and it's about ban on car idling. This is actually by the council member Paul Corres,
Mhm.
idling reduction and education, because vehicle idling, though seemingly insignificant, is a serious problem. And park idling vehicles consume over 300 million gallons of gas, cost drivers approximately $1 billion, and pump more than 3 million tons of pollutants into the air annually in California. The summary of the community impact statement is we are calling upon LA DOT to put forth a car idling ban educational campaign, our neighborhood council, who has been representing more than 25,000 resident stakeholders at least, to support the council member Paul Cortez motion to ban car IDing. It is necessary to address the issues of poor air quality in Los Angeles due to the concern over the climate emergency. And car IDing puts more than 3 million tons of CO2 into California's atmosphere annually. At least 1/3 of greenhouse gas emissions in Los Angeles is from the transportation sector. And the LA region has received an ongoing annual failing grade from the American Lung Associations that the State of the Air report, Los Angeles is considered the most ozone polluted metropolitan area in the United States. Air pollution possesses significant danger to public health, including risk of premature death, reproductive and developmental harm, and cardiovascular disease, lung cancer, and asthma. It is sensitive location in Los Angeles, such as schools. Actually, LUSD is looking into it. It did arrive this to the superintendent office of Mr. Joseph McCorda, hospitals and senior centers, as well as emissions choked areas such as garages, parking lots, and travel hubs are most at risk. Distracted idling is increasing as we sit in our cars to charge and talk on phones. Ride hailing and delivery services leave parked vehicles engines running. Limiting needless vehicle idling to 1 minute or less will protect everyone from kids to construction workers. This will not hurt low income or homeless people. It will not be enforced in any way if the health or wellness of vehicle occupants are at stake. It will not interfere with necessary emergency and safety vehicle functions or commercial vehicle functions that require a park idling engine. Um, this motion would raise consciousness to turn off park idling, and the LFNC calls on the LFNC calls on LA City Council to support the Los Angeles County's idling ban and post clean air zone, no idling allowed size in sensitive area.
Mm.
I know there are some other neighborhood councils, they did pass the motion, and Hassan and myself, and even you, Assad, we feel this is a very imperative when we bring this to higher level, because they really pay attention when you are having an impact statement. It's very serious. When we passed one of our impact statements, they've been they have good follow-up going on. It has not. It has even been mentioned. I said it has even been mentioned in the city hall in the city Los Angeles meeting last month. And Nuri Martinez, I believe she was running that meeting. She mentioned the Porter Ranch Neighborhood Council, and that's enough for us.
Yeah, that's a pretty important topic. I actually have seen myself some of these trucks coming to our neighborhood, UPS, FedEx,
Right.
leave their engines on and they're delivering packages here and there. And I mean, I don't know how big of an issue that is, but to me, why don't you turn off the engine, even if it's for a couple of minutes.
Right.
Then there has been, in corner of other streets where I was a pedestrian and I see a car parked and it's idling, and you can just feel the fumes in that area, especially, if it's an older van or a truck or something. So it's definitely an important topic. And personally, I fully support it. So what I propose, Mehran, is that you work on a language for a community impact statement where we can submit that to the board along
And I
with,
believe I sent it to you. Did you receive it or not?
I got it, but I think it's not, let's say I will get back to you with some revisions on that. We need to work on the language a little bit more, and then we submit that along with a motion to the full board. So if all three of us agree that this is what we need to do, and I see definitely, Meron, you submitted, I agree, and Asad, I think you are in agreement.
Right, exactly.
So let's, Meron and I will massage this, we'll send it to Asad to look at, and I think we should definitely give it to Isam before the next board meeting so he can put it on the agenda for discussion. One other thing, Meron, I wanted to mention, and I don't know if you have seen any files on that. A while ago, I remember Susan was very adamant about these gasoline blow dryers that they got.
Right.
Yes,
And,
yes.
Yes.
and frankly, at the time I said, you know, I know the city also passed an ordinance and definitely they are not supposed to be used, but who listens? I mean, everybody keeps using them. And they say, the excuse is that this thing, they ran out of battery so fast, so the guy cannot use it the whole day, and how they gonna charge it? So what I have noticed now, because I do walk around the neighborhood, and that's the only activity I can do. I do see gardeners different hours of the day, especially in the mornings. Here I am out there trying to get some fresh air and take a walk. And here this guy comes with a blow dryer, and with a little bit of wind, I mean, it just blasts to your face. And you say, what the heck? You know, I'm here to get fresh air, not some polluted air. So I really feel this is a big issue, and it is bad for all residents, especially for maybe closer inner city spaces where there may not be a whole lot of breeze and this stuff just stagnate in the air. So I like to go revisit that file, and I haven't been able to locate it. I don't know what file number it was, but we may want to go back and kind of reemphasize on that aspect of what was banned before, and why is it not really enforced? I mean, what does it take to get those things off the hands of these guys, you know? So to me, that, I don't know if it's as bad as car idling, but I think it's a big issue because with the number of homes and number of gardeners on the street all day long, that's a lot of pollution.
Exactly.
These guys, they love to, you know, keep blow dry everything because it makes them easy for them to make the area clean. So, so that's another area I'd like to work with you, Essam, and with Mehan and Asad.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't harm to have both, you know. And I think if I remember right, Susan was saying all these gasoline ones are illegal. They should use use the power ones.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
But they don't care.
Yeah.
I said, you know, Hassan, the other regions like CD3, they are actually doing much better in sustainability because they know that they have a higher appreciation to air quality, clean air, and so on. Look to David Rue, what he did. Look to what's his name, Bob Bloomberg, what he did. They do take care of their district very well.
Exactly.
So these files, if you look at them, a lot of them are introduced by only a few council members.
100%. It's very specific.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's like one or two gentlemen who are very much into environmental stuff. And if you look, every file is related to environment comes from them, right?
Oh yeah, Mehran, question to you.
Yes, sir.
The CIS you're introducing about the car idling and all that, has any other neighborhood council done anything on that issue? Do you know?
I know they are, but I don't know which one.
Okay.
I'll find out. Yes, they did. Wilshire,
Yes.
Wilshire is one of the most problematic neighborhood council, but they are very aggressive when it comes to the sustainability. I attended one of the neighborhood council meeting. The sustainability was 30 minutes. The education was 20 minutes. This was the board meeting. I was shocked. My gosh.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely that's something we can work on and decide what to do. The language that Mehran used, I believe it's been worked on and it came from perhaps some other
Yeah, I reach out to
NC.
reach out and they helped me what was the language.
Right.
I did reach
So,
out during when Freddie was still our Don representative,
right.
which is not now, from what I understand.
Yeah.
I said, do you know what should be the CIS content or the language? Is there a universal traditional that we can allow? He said, you can do the same language, it doesn't matter. It's the name of the neighborhood council and who represented it.
That's right. Yeah.
He said, make it important. He said, he said, make sure that it's coming from the sustainability, not anyone else. That's what
Yeah.
he said.
Right. So it's exactly right. I mean, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. If somebody has already done the language and it's ready to go, it's easier work for us. But nevertheless, we have to push it through the board to get full agreement and pass it. So and this is something I think you brought it up, I brought it up to Lisa too. We'll be happy to help in this sort of manner because it makes sense for us to support certain different environmental concerns through CIS. It gives us support to the city council files. And of course, we do our part to push it. So it makes a lot of sense to continue doing it. And I think this is one of the goals actually for this year is how many CISs we can push through. The ones that make sense. I mean, we don't want to just grab any CIS and say, we're going to go with it, but let's grab the good ones and then discuss it. And what I'd like to do, just like what we did today, first it comes here to our group,
Yes.
community. So when it goes to the board, anybody says, has it been discussed and agreed upon by such and such committee? In this case, our committee, we say, yes, it was discussed, it's on the agenda. So that's why I didn't want to finalize it, but I just want to have a discussion on it. And then we submit, the language. So so I'll get in touch with you, Nick, Miran, separately discuss a couple of things with you. Great.
Need also to consider for September about the cards. There are cards and plastic bags by that post office and also by Ralph.
I'm sorry, I missed.
When you go, I said, I don't know the street name. Where was the old Whole Food?
Yeah.
When you go in, not when you go in, there are carts and there are homelessness and they trash the plastic bags. This is all poison. It's not good for our health. So I will find out the council file. I think it's very good that the sustainability now, it's made of talented individuals. Very educational, talented. We almost have the same background. It's amazing. We need to do at least one CIS every month we can, at least on our board meeting. Sustainability now, as you know, is very active after the COVID.
Yes, it's an integral part, technically.
Yeah. And really pleased and honored to be part of this committee. As you know, not too many NCs actually have a sustainability committee.
Exactly.
So
Right.
it just carries so much weight because we might be carrying the weight of other NCs. For example, I don't know if Granada Hills has one or Northridge has one. I really haven't been part of those, but no, I mean, when you talk to the broader spectrum of NCs, there is not too many sustainability committees. And I know the Lisa from Sustainability Alliance, they were struggling trying to get people to actually support their agenda, which is mainly pushing NCs and, community impact statements, so forth. So the more we do and the more active we are, the more we're going to be noted that, Porter Ranch really cares. They got some of the best guys and people who care about the environment, about what's happening to them. I wish we could bring a lot of those geared toward the Alisa Canyon, but that's a different animal and different story. But that is one of the concerns. And, my neighbors always reach out and talk about it and what's going on, and I refer them to the CAGs and some of the other committees for more information. But definitely, yeah. So it's good to introduce that. So we will work on one CIS, Miran, and then consider what we can do for that gasoline, blow dryers. Um, if we find something and there is a language and we can reintroduce it, I'll be happy to sponsor a second CIS also.
Excellent.
Coming meeting, because as I said, I was really pissed off the other day walking around and inhaling the gasoline smokes from these guys, and it actually stretches for I want to say many yards, because I was trying to go fast to get away from it, and it was in the air. I mean, it would not.
Oh yeah, you can't escape it. It stays there for a couple hours.
Yeah, it was pretty
Unfortunately.
dense, so, yeah. Okay, so what else we got going? I guess that was the last topic, and
Yes.
we don't have any stakeholders comments. Any final notes? I see Jason dropped out, so that's fine. So
Yeah.
anyway, any last minute comment or?
No, just let's push the money thing for that. Let's think of a dollar amount to tag in. Maybe because you could ask whatever it is, and then I'm sure they're gonna chop us down. So maybe for web and content and all that, maybe we should put $1,000 placeholder and be willing to go down maybe to 500. I don't know, but or stick to 1,000.
Honestly, based on what you mentioned and everything else that is going around, and this is our only main outlet to the outside world, of course, besides Facebook and whatever else we do. I was thinking this is a multi-$1,000 proposition if you want to do a really, really good job.
Exactly.
They were saying the website needs to be revived, and the lady was asking for how much? 3,500 or 4,000?
Right, 3,500 for the whole board, but I'm saying 1,000 just for our committee. Because in safety, I'm going to ask something like $500. So if we get 500 in this one, let's say 500 in education, 1,000 in sustainability. In the end, if we get $5,000 toward the website, we can bring the lady in and we could do some other stuff with it too.
Yeah. So let's do that. I mean,
but you know what I mean? I mean, we tell them that this is just the portion pertaining to the sustainability committee. It's not the amount we're suggesting for the whole maintenance of the website of the board.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't really see a problem of saying, we have come to this conclusion that the whole PRNC website needs to be renovated, and it is to the best advantage of all the committees because they all want to take part in it. And here, we need, some needs to basically hear from all of us that we need combined so many thousands of dollars for this, and let's do it. I mean,
All right.
I
Good
would
plan.
rather to spend the money here as opposed to give it away to some non-profit that who knows what they do with the money here. So, okay, well, if nothing else, let's
Perfect.
call it off. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Meeting
Hassan.
adjourned.
Thank you, Asad.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank
Have
you,
a good
guys.
evening. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.